All right. How's everybody living? All right, we are live. All right, what the hey? Why can't I find the? Here we are. All right. Happy New Year, everybody. Corey, how you doing? I love that you started out with that beautiful, beautiful thing. Tracy, thank you, thank you. Well, this is the big day, guys. This is the big day. We're gonna start putting all this together. How's everybody feeling right now? Did everybody get their audiences created yesterday? I wanted you to, I put it in the emails. I wanted you to create a warm audience from your morning, Jay. I wanted you to create a warm audience from the people that have visited your Instagram, WhatsApp accounts, and Facebook accounts, everybody that's engaged with that. And then I wanted you to create the cold audience, which would be that's where you're going to get into those psychographics and the interests and things of that nature. Did everybody get those set up? We're ready to go there, right? Comment and let me know. Shout out the answers if you know them, right? Alexa, volume 1. I got my phone. I was cranking music here before I started, and now I have this like crazy delay because it's like a 15-second delay that's coming through, you know who, and so I can't have that happen. All right, so a couple of things I want to cover before we get started here on our last day. First of all, super proud of you guys. My hope in that this journey that we've gone on for these 5 days is that, and I really, really want your feedback on this. Okay. If it's bad feedback, it's okay. It's going to help me get better. But I want to know if everybody feels a little less scared of Facebook ads, a little less intimidated by Facebook ads, whatever word you want to use. Do you feel a little bit more confident because we've gone through and we've done these things together, step by step, and therefore we have just a better working knowledge of how this thing can work, this tool can work. Is everybody feeling a lot better about that now? And everything, that today will be the day when we bring it all home, we bring it all together, and you are actually going to have an ad that is ready to go. Okay. So shout out, let me know in the comments if you're feeling better about this, if you're finding this useful, if you feel like you got a better grip on this tool. I need to know that. I spent a lot of time with my front man trying to get him to help me nail down some audience psychographics. It was like pulling teeth, but I finally had some good information to go on. Okay, good. I mean, sometimes with the artists, if they're not sure about that, I think, Corey, you might know more about the psychographics of that audience than your front man will. If I'm being honest, I could be off base here, but my first thing is like, what is the band? Is it metal? Is it country? Is it outlaw country? Is it rock? Is it jazz? Where? Let's start there with the genre, and then go from there. And the reason I say that you might know more, Corey, than your front man, and why I went down that road, was just because you're thinking about it from a perspective of a marketer and from the perspective of psychographics. And he doesn't get it. You know what I mean? He just isn't in that mind frame, right? So I like that you got the input from it. But that's good. Okay, Nyla, yes, this has been awesome. I feel like you've done a good job. Feel confident that I can make multiple ads now. Oh, I'm liking this. You guys are making my day, my New Year's Eve here. The minimum dollars and days for an ad, Joy, it's there is no minimum. Okay, but I will tell you that you need to, I would be putting at least like $15 a day towards your ads, because the $1 a day, the $5 a day, it sounds like a good selling point for somebody to make it not so scary. But you know what? You're not getting enough meat on the bone for that algorithm to do what it needs to do. Okay. And so I don't think if you're doing that while maybe you're saving money, maybe you're saving $5 or $10 a day because you're not getting good information. This has been my experience over the past few years with Facebook ads. And the $1 and $5 a day is the kind of crap that they push on to people who are going to boost, because boost is just a shakedown. You don't get the data. You guys see how important that data is now in the background, like with how you create lookalike audiences. Man, you can't go find out how many people watch your video when you boost it. You can't create a lookalike audience from that on a boost. Do you see how that's like Facebook light? Okay, now you guys are moving on to Facebook heavy, okay, like deep into Facebook ads. So I would want to give those ads some time. And as far as days are concerned, it takes a little bit of time for that algorithm with the proper meat on the bone to do what you are asking it to do. Okay. So typically when I first started doing Facebook ads, I'll be honest with you, I would run tests for like 72 hours, 3 days. And then I would find out, okay, this is clearly the winner, and this clearly isn't. Now, since then, and I've been doing this a while, Facebook has gotten just a lot more intuitive, which is beneficial to you. And it sort of does all the thinking for you. And with the budget optimization, if you're testing different ads, it's going to just realize which one is performing the best and allocate most of the budget towards that for you automatically. And so lately on some of my tests, I'm maybe like a day and a half, I'm seeing a clear winner, and then I'm toggling off the other one, so I'm saving money, and then letting the one that moves forward work, okay, and let it do its thing. So, and then it's just about like what your budget is. And then watching the day to day, hour to hour, checking in and just seeing, is the needle moving? Are you selling the tickets? Are you getting more video views? When you guys set this up and you do it right, it should be like the most fun thing of your day. I mean, it becomes as addictive for me as, like some people play video games, or some people like are addicted to social media. Like I'm like, click, 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 click. I want to see how about now? How many more video views do we get now? How about now? How about now? Because it keeps growing. It keeps rising up, and people are responding to my artists' content, and that just turns me on. Okay. So, so play with it, have some fun. Carrie Cunningham, I think it's going to take practice. So I don't have to keep going back to the notes. Some parts are easy and some parts are like, what am I missing? Yeah, it's still going to be a little foreign. My hope is that it's a lot less foreign. This is definitely a rapid fire kind of a thing to get your hands on the tool, give you a working knowledge of how that works. And I mean, like this, part of this course that I told you about yesterday is going to have a much more complete Facebook ads course built into that. And it'll be go a lot deeper than what we did on this. But what you have today, what you're going to have at the end of today, make no mistake, is a working knowledge of how to do this. You can be able to pull the trigger. Okay. Let's see what else here. Jay Stott, this has really filled in a lot of important stuff using this platform. I can already see it making a difference in test ads you're running right now. What? Jay Stott gets the gold star ahead of the class. I love that. Congratulations. for how many days should we run the campaign? Well, so for me, I work backwards on that with my clientele, Nyla. How many days? So, for instance, with Lala Deaton, right? She's like, okay, I got $1,000 budget for an ad spend on this ad, that blew up and did so well. That video that blew up and did so well. The ad did what it was supposed to do. So from there, I'm thinking, okay, at 15 to 20 bucks a day, I'm going to work backwards. Like, okay, so if I multiply that out, how long does it go for if I'm doing that for in terms of the budget? Does that make sense? So and be careful with this, guys, when you're setting up your campaigns. You don't want to say, I'm going to spend $500 on an ad campaign, but I want it to run for a long time. And you run it for 5 months. And what you're doing is you're giving the ad spend like a couple bucks a day. You want to make sure that you create the amount of time for that campaign to do what it's supposed to do. And remember that this is digital ads. We can toggle on or toggle off whenever we damn well please. So after a couple days, you're not getting the results that you want. Nobody's watching that video. Nothing's happening. And you spent 40 bucks on ads. Turn it off, regroup, figure out what happened. You're going to have a couple of those. Let me save you the suspense. Okay. But the only way out is through. Okay. You can't just waltz into Facebook ads as an expert. You're going to have to play with this. Jay Stott, I commend you for running some test ads and just play around with it. I start out with a couple 3-day ads for, let's say, 45 to 60 bucks total, and run them for 3 days and just see what happens. And test that for, test some different audiences and things of that nature. When we get into running ads, it becomes very scientific, right? And so it becomes a matter of testing like one thing at a time, and then eliminating that and until you kind of boil it down. All right. So make sure that the times that you put for it's all about the budget that you want to spend. Start there first, and then decide how much time it's going to last. Now, in other situations, because it is digital, we have a lot of flexibility. Like I've had artists come to me and say, hey man, we need some promotion like last minute for this event, for this live event. Okay. All right. So I'm going to throw all this together. I'm going to get them all set up on the platform. I'm going to start running ads. They've got a budget, but if I spend $3,000 promoting a show over 5 weeks, I can also spend $3,000 promoting it over 3 days and reach as many people, right? Because I'm just jacking up how it's going to go out. So like if I'm testing, let's say an ad for, maybe I'm running like 20 bucks a day, and I'm starting to see, okay, I'm starting to see the needle move the way I want it to move. The tickets are being sold. Okay, now I'm going to start a new ad and ramp it up. Okay, the other trick I'm going to tell you today too, or big FYI, you cannot scale up your ads more than 33% in every 3 days. So, scaling up an ad that's working is awesome. And you want to do that. But if you're under the gun, you need to start a new ad with the same parameters and rock that thing. Or like if you're running, I'm just going to do this for the math. Okay. Just to make the math easy. But if I'm running $100 a day and this ad is rocking and I want to scale it up, then I'm going to jack it up to $133 a day. Okay. And let it rock for 3 days. And then I can jack it up another 33%. If you do it more than that, you're allowed to do it, but you screw up the algorithm. So just, you can't scale too fast. You can't just put the hammer down. You have to slowly step on the gas to make that happen. Okay. Let's see what other questions we got here. Keep getting lost in the business suite. It's so confusing. Do you mean in the business manager platform, or do you mean in the business suite? Because those are two different things, Nyla. I would just go back to day one. I mean, really, you should be, and Business Suite is a relatively new thing. And if I'm being honest with you, Nyla, like just about, I don't know, a couple months ago, like whenever it first rolled out, it feels like it was a couple months ago, maybe it was longer, but I felt like I kept having to go there first, and it was a pain in the ass. Like, I wanted to just get me to the freaking Business Manager platform. That's where I want to go. So, I'll show you when we screen share here. I'll show you the difference between the two. Okay. But I mean, we didn't spend any time on Business Suite. We just used Business Suite as a conduit to start our Business Manager accounts. So it might just be Business Suite that you're lost in, but you always just look for ads. Look for the ads, and if you can find Ad Manager, then that's what's going to get you to the menu that we've been working from, which is the Business Manager account. Okay. All right. So before we get started with this, I want to impress upon you a couple things. There is a movement that's happening right now. It's a straight up movement. It's unprecedented in the history of the music industry. It's never happened before. We have the middle class of artists are arriving, right? The top 40, so 90% of all the radio spins every year create the top 40 songs. Those are expressed in the amount of songs. There's only 40 songs. Now, 90% of the streams on Spotify are the top 44,000. Okay. That's way more than any currently signed artists. Another thing I want to share with you, these are numbers. I'm not trying to crush you with the numbers, but I want you to see what I see. In 2018, Spotify had, I want to say it was like a 19 or 20%. It was somewhere between 20 and 30% increase in streams in the United States. Okay. Like a 20 or 30% increase in streams in the United States, but the top 500 stream songs didn't move from 2017 to 2018. So think about the top 500 stream songs. Those are your major label artists. That's the top 10 every week, 50 weeks, top 500, right? So the labels didn't get any more streams. Where did that 19 or 20% come from? You, indie artists that were figuring this out, okay? That were making this happen. So this Facebook ads platform is going to be probably one of your most used tools. If it's not the most used, it's probably just the most used tool. I mean, just straight up, that's the one you get, because that's at the end of the day, when the content's made, that's the way you're going to get it out there. It's the only way you're going to get in front of new eyeballs. And it's the only on digital platforms. And it's the only way that you're going to make sure you reach all of your warm audience. Okay. So the movement is so big. It's so much bigger than how many more streams you're getting. It's that little by little, artists are starting to understand. They're starting to deprogram from the broadcast platform mentality and that approach. And they're starting to reprogram and understand that we've got to create traffic. And if I create traffic is what you want to focus on. That's what Facebook ads is designed to do. Create traffic for your product, for your music, for your video, for your live shows, for whatever you want to create traffic to. Okay. It's designed to create traffic. Traffic is where the money is. And I know that some of you right now don't have your head around how that is. I mean, I just had a conversation yesterday with a small label owner who just is still like, okay, where are we getting paid? How can we shorten this up? I'm like, stop trying to go to radio and focus on traffic. Like get a YouTube channel that has a couple 100,000 subscribers and regular traffic and a slew of videos that have 2 million or more video views. That's consistent traffic that people pay money to get in front of that, because the same problem you're having of trying to be heard, trying to stand out in a sea of choices and all of that noise that's out there, brands are having the same problem too. Okay, because radio's not working for them. They're all off the radio. On country radio, they're gone, except for beer and big pickup trucks, because it's still worth it for them. But they're the last two advertisers left on country music radio. Okay, so everybody else is fled. It's not working. TV, hard. It's hard to do. You know, just a quick case in point. On May 28th, 1998, that was a very big day because that was the final Seinfeld episode that aired. He was still number one and he went out on top. And that episode was a big, overpriced advertising extravaganza that was very similar to the Super Bowl. And here's what's crazy. The biggest audience in the decade of the 90s. That's impressive. Okay. But what most people don't know is that Seinfeld audience on that last day, which is the biggest audience in the decade of the 90s, did not come close to the audience that a third-rate, bottom of the barrel, about to be canned sitcom had in 1978, when we still had 3 channels and 300 million people that only had 3 channels to watch: ABC, NBC, CBS. So the audiences are shrinking. And so it's very hard for advertisers to get out there. So what do they want? Somebody with a voice, somebody with some influence, somebody that's got an audience that's a regular, predictable audience. Traffic is going to open up opportunities for you that you haven't even thought of. It's going to create cash registers for you that you haven't thought of, that don't exist in the normal music business model. Labels still aren't doing it. Why don't labels have, why aren't they being as the pain in the ass that they've always been to artists and saying, hey, we're going to start, driving traffic and you have to be on our YouTube channel instead of your YouTube channel, because we want all that traffic so that we can generate money from that. There are people, I know this sounds ethereal. It sounds like I don't know, maybe a conspiracy theory, but it's not a conspiracy theory because it's true, but still it's hard to let it sink in. Like, there are boatloads of people that make very comfortable 7-figure living. They make $1 million a year on YouTube. Why? Because they have traffic. Okay, so traffic, the labels are going to come to you. The Granger Smith created, he couldn't get a record deal up here. He couldn't get a publishing deal. He couldn't get arrested in Nashville. And he went back to Texas, and him and his brother created Earl Dibbles Jr. And then started doing, and I don't know if they just were doing that to mess around and have some fun and it kind of took off and they got lucky, or if they were like, intentional throughout the whole thing. But then all of a sudden people started reacting to his content, and now he had traffic, and it kept growing and growing and growing. He built, prior to his record deal, a $1.8 million business from his effing laptop. There's only 4 people behind that. This isn't a big, huge team. It's Granger Smith, his brother, a lawyer that they're going to have, and my friend Nicole Pope, who owned the PR company that he worked with. Okay, so this is being done a lot. It's about traffic, and you think it's about your music. What you want to focus on is the traffic, and then they're going to come to your music. You come first now. Before, the way we were all raised was we were forced to create a relationship with the single on the radio. We heard the music first. The music came first. Let the music do the talking. A hit song can change a lot of things. These are absolutely true when we had broadcast platforms with captive audiences. Now we don't. You come first. The content comes first. They're not going to give a crap about your song until they know about you, until they've heard that song enough, right? So it requires this whole different way of thinking, which is why I put that course together. But you're part of this movement, and this is one of the biggest tools that I think most artists don't have. So we've got this incredible advantage right now. I want you to master this, and I want you to be a part of this movement. There are plenty of artists now that are figuring out on a very realistic way to generate $100,000 a year being an artist. Before, you couldn't generate any money being an artist unless you got on the radio, unless you got lucky. And that was 5% of the artists on any given label. And for how long? And it wasn't your audience, it was their audience. You know, when you're not on the radio, the traffic goes away. It's like fishing in the dark, you know, turn off the light, the fish scatter. But in digital, you're bringing the fish in the boat. You know who they are. You know who the customer is, right? And this is a great way to bridge that gap and make that happen, okay? So be part of the movement. Carrie, my friend, who's an opera singer, has 1 million followers on YouTube, analyzing other singers. She's amazing. She gets paid. She gets paid, okay? Man, if you haven't checked them out yet on YouTube, go check out the Lost in Vegas guys. I totally subscribe to these two yahoos, man. They're these like two black guys that are like super funny. And they're obviously like they're hip hop, like that's where they came from. But they have a huge YouTube and Patreon channel now, and they are being worshipped by the record industry because they have traffic. And you know how they got their traffic? Reacting to rock songs and stuff like that. I pay $1 a month to be a part of their Patreon thing and just see what the hell they're going to say about the Allman Brothers and about Dokken and about Rat and about like my favorite artists, you know. And they're just like super cool. They're honest, and they're just trying to, and they're not musicians. That's the other thing. So their descriptions and the way they try to talk about like what they're listening to is so amusing to me, because they're just like, oh, and that way that guitar, they're trying to say it's something guitar tone, but they're using the wrong words because they're consumers, because they never recorded a record, you know what I mean? But they love it. They're like, oh, I don't like that, you know, man, I love that. And they have, these guys are now tastemakers, they're influencers. So the reason I want you to focus on traffic, and then we'll get to this lesson, is because it's already changing again. The game you think you're getting into, which is like working Spotify and making more money on Spotify, by the time you figure this out and you get your muscles and you get going, it's already going to be gone. Okay, it's going to move to blockchain, and on digital, there is no foot traffic, right? So in Nashville, on Broadway, right? It's a fact that like the north side of Broadway has 25% more foot traffic than the south side of Broadway. So whether you're on the north side of Broadway or the south side of Broadway, if you put up an ice cream shop or a boot shop or some kind of clothing shop, and you have a reasonably good window dressing in there, you are going to do some business because there's foot traffic. Okay, that's not the case on digital, but that's what's being implied to you through all the money. That's the way that YouTube kind of implied, iTunes implied it, all these new platforms like Bandzoogle, Reverb Nation, Bandcamp, Noise Trader, blah 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 blah. They're getting all kinds of millions of dollars of VC money, venture capital money, because we got a brand new way for artists and fans to do business together. And you know what nobody's created a platform on? Why are they going to be there? There's 1 billion people that visit YouTube every day, Johnny. We're going to get something done. Nope, they are not going to find you. These are all distribution sites. Distribution is where you go to consume a product, and the marketing and promotion is why you're going there. Okay, so there is no digital traffic per se. All right, there's strategies that I talk about, like in the course of how you can take advantage of and sort of ride some waves on some digital traffic, but it's not based on a platform. It's based on a song or an artist. You know, I've had climbers testify on the podcast that, Johnny, we did what you said. What's her face? The girl that sticks her tongue out all the time, and I can't remember her name, but like this artist dropped a single, this climber, the day it dropped, jump on it, created his own version of it, produced it up, put it out, and literally 24 hours later, 20,000 views with zero promotion, because he took advantage of the foot traffic of people looking for that brand new song. Miley Cyrus, that's who it was. So, but it doesn't exist on the platform. Who's going to trip over, find you on Bandzoogle, or find you on Reverb Nation, or find you on iTunes, or really find you on Spotify because they're listening to something else? Labels are really having a problem with that. There's a couple articles I can share with you. They're not branding artists. They're making all this money on the songs, but nobody's connecting with the artist. They're connecting with the song in a playlist. So it's not really branding. The discovery is shite. discovery mechanism on Spotify is shite. I can name a couple handfuls of artists who broke on YouTube, who broke on TikTok. I'm sure there's artists who like broke on Spotify. I don't know who they are, and they're the outliers. Okay, so let's move forward with this. But you know, I want you fully invested in this digital thing, because it's just such a blue ocean right now. There's nobody doing it right. There's very few people doing it right, and the labels, the people that can outspend you, are not there. So work this, okay? And add promotion into your thought process, for crying out loud, which is why you're all here. But good Lord, how many indie artists, they blow everything on the record on making the CD, and then they put it up on iTunes to see what happens, and they wonder why they're broke. That's a bad business model. All right. So let's build this thing. I'm going to share my screen. While I'm getting this set up, anybody got any questions here? Oh my God. Yeah. So you've seen them. They're so great. Yeah. Well, first of all, so Micah Boss, thank you, John. Do you recommend spending for promotion on YouTube and Instagram as well? If so, what's the percentage compared to Facebook ads? So this is a multi-level question here. So first of all, if you have, you should have your Instagram connected to your business manager account. And when you're running ads from the Facebook ads platform, you will also run them on Instagram. Okay. You can choose to do that or not do that if you want, but I would recommend it. And you would also, and if you're European, or if you, like, I know some Americans, but have WhatsApp, but that's because they travel back and forth to Europe a lot. Same thing with WhatsApp. Okay. So all that can be run from the same ad that you're going to set up today. As far as YouTube, that's a different platform. I hate Google's platform. It's so clunky and crappy. But if I have an artist that is like, we want to do YouTube, then it's better to do the ad from the Google ads platform, because it's going to cost you less. Your ads are going to be less expensive, because if you're running Google ads that are promoting YouTube content, then that's going to be, you're not bringing it off the platform. Google owns YouTube, right? And the same thing with Instagram and Facebook. Like when you're doing Facebook, Instagram, and WhatsApp, that's all part of the same platform. So your least expensive ads are going to drive traffic to that platform, which is what I would recommend right now. Because what do we want? We want exposure. We want to be seen. Again, like I mentioned this earlier in the challenge, but you know, when they sign a record deal, the first thing they'll say, okay, now we just got to get you in front of 30 million people. Right? We love what you're doing. We got some great songs. We got a great recording. Now we got to get you in front of 30 million people, and then we'll be off to the races. Then we're going to start going. Okay. So it's all about exposure and how many eyeballs can you get in front of? Okay. And then and it's always going to be a small percentage of people that connect with you from that. Right. But if you're picking up a couple new fans and a couple new fans and a couple new fans from these paid ads, and I'm sure you've all heard about, like, on the digital, the artists building the digital business model with this 1,000 super fans, right? If you have 1,000 super fans, 1,000 people that will spend $100 a year with you, that's $100,000 in revenue. Okay. This is absolutely, undeniably 100,000% doable if you come at it with intention and a plan, and you have to advertise to get in front of new eyeballs. But this is going to make that easier for you. And the final thing I'm going to say about this too, guys, is like, and it kind of relates to the course we're going to talk about at the end here, but you're untying the knot of the broadcast platform promotion strategies and rewiring your brain to really honor the digital platform. I'm going to put in that course, I got a bunch of like great strategies that we've used that have worked, that are really cool. And I'm going to give you some stuff to run with. But you know what I'm most excited about? Like what you're going to come up with when you start playing with it. Like, hey, Johnny, we figured this out. We figured that out, because crazy stuff happens, and then you can go and do it. I remember one of the podcast episodes we had, and Brent and I cooked up a plan of, man, you know what I miss? Like when I listened to the radio when I was a teenager, and all the rock bands and everything was like, hey, this is this is David Lee Roth from Van Halen hitting you guys up in Milwaukee, 98 Rock. What's happening? Those like shout outs, those stuff. Like, I'm like, why doesn't that happen on freaking Spotify? Like, why doesn't somebody make a Spotify single that starts out with the first 5 seconds of the artist giving a shout out saying, hey, welcome to Spotify. This is my new single. I can't wait to see you guys, or, whatever. Wow. Why does anybody do that? Can you imagine what kind of a disruption that would be like in a stream? It got to be quick, like 3 seconds or 5 seconds, but you've got this playlist going. All of a sudden you're like, who's this? Click through, right? You're just trying to get seen and figure out different ways to stick out. But this is when you're thinking about how the digital platform is consumed, this is some of the crazy crap you come up with. And I can't wait to see what you guys come up with. Okay. So we've got our audiences created. We've got our business managers created. We've got our ad accounts created. We're compliant. Let's put together an ad, y'all. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do is go up on the left-hand side here and hit create. I think some of you may have already created this. I'm just going to start from the beginning because we have all the pieces in place now. Let's do a traffic ad. You can do a video views ad or whatever you want to do. I'm going to name this campaign the 5-day FB ads challenge tester. I'm going to click continue. And here we are. So is everybody here now in this part? Do you see what I see with this as far as the screen? So this is, we've got 3 levels of this ad campaign. This is the campaign level, which is on top, and you see how they're indented like an outline. Okay, so level 1 is the campaign. So if you got to go and change stuff on your campaign objective, you can bounce back to there. Level 2 is the ad set, right? So this is where we're going to pick the audience. And this is where, and just let me know if anybody has any, yeah, of course we can talk after Carrie. Yeah. Okay. But is anybody having a problem right now? Does anybody not see what I see in this ads creation campaign? I just want to make sure we're all on the same page. So hit me up if, comment if you can't see that. So the ad set level is where we're going to set the budget, which we can set it daily or we can set a lifetime budget. And keep in mind, this is not a commitment. You're going to pay for these ads after they run. So they're running first and then you're paying for them, as opposed to what you're used to doing if you purchased any kind of advertising on your side hustle or on your artist career, where it's a magazine ad or a radio ad or a billboard ad or a newspaper ad or a TV ad. It's like, here's how much money it costs, pay first and trust us that we're going to reach all these people and that it's going to do something. It's not the case here. You're going to default to that because it's the way it's always been. And so this is so different. It's weird. Okay. So in other words, you can make a lifetime budget of $350 or $5,000 and spend 20 and turn it off. Okay. And you'll be charged for 20. And then the third level here is the ad level. And Pamela Mary, this is where we're going to get to today, where you're going to actually inject the ad content in there and create the copy and the headline and all that. But we can jump back and forth between the ad set and the campaign level. So, that's what you're seeing. And by the way, so real quick, I'm going to just close out of this. See these tabs up here? You've got campaigns up at the top, ad sets right here, and ads right here. So you can look at the data from each of these with these tabs. So now it seems a little less confusing what you're looking at, right? Does that make sense? So I've got stuff selected right here, but if I want to, I can choose. So here's a bunch of, different old ads right here that I've run. But if I want to just look at the ad that I'm working on or the ad that's running right now, I can just check this box right here. I can go to search and filter up at the top and just click filter by selection. Okay. And now all I'm looking at is this one here. So I can see the campaign level, and there's no data here, but I can see the ad set level and I can see the ad level. Okay. So we're going to go in and edit this. All you're going to do is click edit right here. All right. Or I can just click on the campaign link, and it's going to open me back up to, hold on a second. I'm going to click edit. That's going to open us up on the end here. So I want everybody on this page right here. So we've got our name for the campaign. This is for special categories. We talked about this a little earlier in the challenge. You guys don't have to worry about that. You're not running stuff for credit or political stuff. The campaign details, we're going to do traffic. It's going to be auction. So once again, the auction, that means that's like, how's it going to be priced? So, just real back to what determines the ad costs again. It's two main things. It's consumption and it's supply and demand. Consumption meaning that the content that you're putting in, that you're interrupting somebody's feed with, if it is being consumed, then your cost goes down, because Facebook, that means you've got some good content and it means you've got a good audience. And that's what Facebook wants. They don't want anybody to be disrupted with something that they don't want to see. Vegans don't want to see your hamburger recipe. They don't care about it. So you're going to piss them off. That content's not going to be consumed. In fact, they might be hostile about it. That's going to push your ad costs up. So your budget's your budget. If your budget's $300 for the ad, you're not going to spend more than $300, but you're going to reach less people for $300 if you've got expensive ads versus inexpensive ads. Okay. And the other part of the equation is supply and demand. Like, how big is the audience that you're trying to reach? A nationwide campaign or an international campaign that involves multiple countries is going to have far lower ad costs, because there's way more feeds that need ads. Does it make sense? Than an ad that is promoting a live show, which is going to be like maybe a 50-mile radius of the venue. Okay, that's just because it's a smaller audience. So are your live show ads going to be more expensive than your ads, push out like a music video? Absolutely. Is it worth it? Absolutely. So don't get hung up on the minutia of it, but just know the difference. Okay. So and so that's why it's an auction. So it's fluctuating. Okay. And with competition, like, we're just past now the Christmas season. So October, November, December, especially November and December, the most expensive ads that you're going to pay on any digital platform, because everybody's pushing out the products for Christmas. So when you guys launch the beginning of the new year, you're going to have some of the least expensive times to run ads, which is cool, right? Now we scroll down, A/B test. I don't do the A/B test thing. I do the testing. I do test, but I will test with the ad set here, I might have multiple ads under the same ad set. So the ad set is where we're going to get into that next, but that's where it's going to be the same audience, right? It's going to be the same geographic locations. And I just want to see if I do something a little different on an ad, like which one work, a video ad versus an image ad, or a certain kind of video ad, right? Like I might have when I'm driving traffic to my concert promotion ads, it's the meat and potatoes of the ad is the same, but I'll have the first 3 seconds of that ad are different. And I might have 3 or 4 of those that I'll test out, and I'll just test those within as new ads. I don't do the A/B test thing. I don't trust it for some reason. Don't ask me why. Campaign budget optimization, I would turn that on. That just means that if you do run more than one ad, or you run multiple ad sets, right? So why would you run multiple ad sets? You might run multiple ad sets to test out audiences, right? Which I kind of recommend. So when we were doing the Curtis Brawley thing, if you remember that story, that was the gay Texas artist. And we had, obviously ads going to Mariah Carey fans and sort of the artist interest group in country music and the different artists that are like orbit around his lane. That was the artist interest group. But then I also had a different ad set with a different targeted audience that was to suicide related stuff. Okay. And then I had a third ad set that was a different audience that was just to the LGBTQ audience. Right. So I had like different, I'm running the same ad, but I'm running different audiences because I just want to see which one is responding better. Because, I might be going with an audience that's based on genre and testing that against an audience that's based on people that would respond to the content of the song, and just let the data tell me. Don't do the thinking. Let the data tell you. They'll tell you how they want to respond. And I am, guys, constantly surprised. I mean, I'm like, this video ad that I just spent 3 hours putting together is the most badass ad I've ever seen. I'm going to test it against the show poster, and crap, the show poster's wrecking my, my video ad. But so what? Don't get prideful. Just be grateful that now for a day or two of data, for $40, you can find out like, wow, I could have spent a bunch of money on this video ad, and I don't have to now. I'm going to turn it off and let the budget go to all to the ad that's working, right? So that's there we are on our campaign level. Now let's click down to the ad set level. So I am going to do let's see, like 5 day. I'm going to name this 5 day. Oh my God, I'm so anal. I have to change that. Did you see that? I'm going to say 5 day FB ads challenge. And you know what? Actually, let me go back up just to give you some name schemes that I do just to keep shit straight, if you will. Excuse my French. If I go back up here, we're going to call this tester, but I'm going to add traffic, right? Because you might be running one campaign that's traffic and another campaign that's video views. Okay, so I want to be able to see on that dashboard like which one is which and not be confused about it. So I highly recommend this. Like, I'm always putting the objective of the campaign up in the name of the campaign section. Okay, so back down to the ad set level. So this is 5 day ads challenge tester. And now I might, so here, I might put the audience in here if I have a specific audience. Like, let's say this is an interests audience, or maybe this is a warm audience, right? Or let's say it's a cold audience, but this one is interests. So like in the thing with Curtis Brawley, right? I had one that was a cold audience that was interest, and then I had another one that was cold audience that was like suicide prevention, right? So I want to be able to label those ad sets so I know what kind of ad is in there, and I know what I'm looking at. So when I'm looking at the data, it's easy for me to read. Practice good bookkeeping, guys. Make sure that you're being specific up there so that you don't get confused. Okay. So now with the traffic ad, it's asking me where we're going to drive it to the website. And then I don't mess with the dynamic creative. So now it's like optimized for delivery. I want landing page views. So like if I'm going to send it to a sales page, let's say, or if I'm going to send it to if I'm sending to a sales page, like, so Nyla, this would be for you. I want to be optimized for landing page views, right? I don't want people just to click through. I want them to let that page load and look at the sales page. So I'm going to optimize it that way. For other things, you might want like, link clicks. I don't do impressions. I'm not concerned about impressions. I want them to act on a traffic ad. Okay. So I'm going to optimize for this one, for landing page views, or link clicks are the two most popular. I'm going to do landing page views for this just for giggles. Now I can select when this is going to start and when it's going to end. Okay. So let's say that I wanted this to start. Now, typically, and you can't start it in the past. Okay. And what I like to do, and this is maybe just a freak anal thing on mine. I've broken this, like this is a little rule for me, but I've broken it a couple times. If like I just did it the day before yesterday, when I optimized an audience for that Elton Live New Year's Eve show that's happening tonight, I started an ad like in the afternoon just because I needed to get it going. You know what I mean? I wanted the tickets are at the end here are not where we wanted them to be. But usually I'll start like I would do something like this. I would start it the next day, and I'm gonna start this ad at 1 a.m. Okay. And because then I'm getting like the full 24 hours for that, or 23 hours in this case for that algorithm to work, if that makes sense. And then I'm going to end it on, let's just say I'm going to end this one on, not March 5th. Whoa. I see what you did there, Facebook. I see what you did. So let's say we're going to end this on January 5th, and I'm going to end this at like 11:59 p.m. Right now, you can do more options. Like you can, there's places where you can go in and say, okay, I'm only going to show this ad from like 6 o'clock in the morning till 8 o'clock at night. It's in some platforms. I just let them go because if Facebook will, if there's like crappy traffic at 3 o'clock in the morning, Facebook automatically is going to optimize that for you. So you're not wasting a lot of money. The algorithm really helps you. Ad spend limits right here. If I put that in, I can put in the maximum. We won't spend more than this amount. You kind of already did it like in the campaign level. Okay. So here's where we're going to put the audience in. So on the budget, if you set it up here in the campaign level, lifetime budget, $350, it's not going to spend, it's going to stop after you've spent $350 unless you stop it before then. Okay. Another side note on how it is, how Facebook bills, just FYI. So initially you got your credit card set up. You're going to start running ads. As soon as the ad starts running, Facebook's going to start billing you. So they bill one of two ways. Well, they bill two of two ways. Sorry, not one of two ways, two of two ways. The first thing is at the end of the month, they run everything, right? They run all the cards. They run them at the end of the month. I think that's recently changed. It's the same concept, but it's recently changed to the end of your billing cycle, which is a monthly billing cycle. But if you set up your ads account and started running an ad on the 22nd of the month, then the end of the month would be the 22nd of the next month. So it's doing one of those two things. But bottom line is, it doesn't matter what the balance is. It's going to run the card at the end of your billing cycle or at the end of the calendar month. Does it make sense to everybody? The second thing is then there's the thresholds. In the beginning, Facebook determines the thresholds, and it's going to be low because a lot of you are going to start running ads and your credit cards are going to be declined because your credit card company is going to see it as fraudulent, and you're going to have to go whitelist the Facebook ads, and then you're going to be fine. You won't have that problem again. But so initially with a brand new account, Facebook is going to run that card probably like every $10 to $25. It's going to run it. Okay. And then once you start running ads and the money's coming off the card and you guys start to have a working relationship, and this happens pretty quickly, then you're going to be able to determine the threshold that you want. So this isn't like how much money you're spending. It's just when they're running the card. And so that just determines like how many freaking line items do you want on your statement? You know what I mean? So if you're spending $1,000 on an ad campaign, it's unnecessary to have your threshold set at $25. You know what I mean? Unless you have unless you're, you don't want to be, you don't want to have your threshold on $1,000 ad campaign. You don't have your threshold set at 900 and then overspend and not have that money on the card. When it comes to run 900, they're going to shut you down. You know what I mean? So you have to be judicious in that. But typically once that starts to build up, I just kind of advise my clients to, hey, just get a higher threshold because you just don't need 1,000 line items on your thing. But one way or the other, they're going to get the money, right? Okay, so So on that note, by the way, so let's say your threshold runs, let's say you've built up your threshold. I've got some clients, their threshold's like $900. The car doesn't run until they spent $900 with the ads. So let's say that on the 29th of the month, they reach the $900 threshold. Facebook runs the card. And then on the 31st of the month, they've got, $5 with the ads. Facebook's going to run the card again because it's at the end of the month. Does that make sense to everybody? Just so you understand how the billing happens. Okay. All right. So here we are at the ad set level. This is, and you can see where it says ad set right here in the upper left-hand corner, just so you know which level you're at. So now we're going to add we've got the time in here. Now we're going to add the audience. Okay. So we can use a saved audience and click here and grab an audience that we like. All the work that we did yesterday, creating those audiences can also be done from here, right? So you can do it right here in the ad set level. So all that stuff that you've seen, if I go into edit, doesn't this look familiar, right? I can edit my location. Okay. I can edit my age group, the genders, and then I can edit the targeting on the interest audience. I can edit it, or I can just straight up build it from there. I just wanted to show you an audiences because I wanted you to see some of the other things, but you're looking at the same thing. This is not new. It's the same thing. Okay. So here's the thing though, if we go and we edit something, let's say I'm going to add in, so you want to add in Warner Brothers music. See if that pops up. Sony music, just Sony music. There we go. Sony Music Entertainment. So I click on something like that. Now, once again, down here in the lower right-hand corner, I'm either going to save as a new audience if I'm going to do a couple tweaks and I want to make sure it's separate, or it's going to update my audience. Be careful with this. Once again, I told you about this yesterday, but if you got other ads, multiple ads running, don't screw up and hit update, or it's going to cause those other ads to stop and get reapproved because they have a new audience. Okay. And it may not be something that you want to do on the ads that are running. So just be, I'm only saying this because I've done this 1,000 times because I'm a moron. I'm like, okay, boom, let's go. Like, no, what did I do? So just be careful, be judicious. All right. So let's just update this guy. What? Let's update the end date is fine. It's January 5th, 2022, 11:59. We're fine. Okay. All right. So we've got our audience in there. Okay. And you can create the lookalike audiences from here. If I want to create a new audience, I can create new saved audiences, new custom audiences. Remember that a saved audience is like all about the demographics, the psychographics, the interests, the behaviors, and the locations. A custom audience is going to be based on, like, that's going to be a warm audience. That's going to be people that have visited your Instagram or Facebook account or WhatsApp account or your website or from a customer list or something like that. And then a lookalike audience can take, and back to the custom audience, any pixel information, you can, be retargeting that custom audience for people that have done that. Okay. Or video views. I want to retarget video views. I want to retarget the people that click through on my ad. Okay. Then you can create lookalike audience, which is optimizing the data from some audience that behaved the way that you wanted them to behave to create a new audience of brand new people that haven't heard of you that can be done from pixel data, from video views, from link clicks, from whatever, but all that can be done right in here. Okay. Then placements, automatic placements. So this is typically what I'll do. What they mean by placements is within each platform, in Facebook and Instagram, you have a lot of surfaces, right? We have your feed in Facebook. We have we have stories in Facebook. That's a second surface. We have in-ad. There's ads that run like in magazine stuff with Facebook. We have, well, I'm going to show you all the surfaces in a second, but Instagram is a feed. That's another platform. And then Instagram stories is a surface. Instagram Reels is a surface. IGTV is a surface. These are all different services, and you can choose to put ads in there or not put ads in there. Okay. It's up to you. So I just leave it automatic, and then I'll show you where you can go and tweak. If you click on the more options button, this just gives you some different filter stuff. I don't mess with this. I really don't. It's unnecessary. So let's click next in the bottom lower hand corner. You've got your audience in there. And now here we are at the ads level. So let's call this 5-day, I did it again, 5-day challenge image ad. Okay. And then now here I've got the Facebook page that I'm going to put the ads to. Double check, make sure your Instagram account, if it's connected, it should be able to pull up here. It might not default to pulling up your Instagram account. You might have to just, put the drop-down menu in there and click on it. Okay. Now we're going to go to the ad setup right here. So here we're going to create the ad. From here, you can use an existing post that maybe you want to push out. Maybe you put out an organic post and it did like really good, and you want to flirt with pushing that out to a cold audience to see what they'll say. That's okay. The Creative Hub, we don't need to worry about the mock-up. You're going to do everything on your own. So we're going to stick with create ad. Now here I can do carousel ads. I don't use those. You can plus around that. That's where you put like a group of images. So maybe like 5 or 6 images that the ad will show, and then swipe with people. I don't, right now I just want to get you guys on single image ads or a video ad. Okay. So we're going to go to single image or video. Don't worry about the dynamic experiences or the full screen mobile experience. So by the way, when it comes to ad content, this is nuanced on your aspect ratios. Okay. But for image ads, I definitely want to have an ad that is, you want your for the feed, the content that appears in a feed, you want that content to be square. Okay. There's exceptions to the rule, but the reason is, if it's square, it's going to take up 100% of the real estate that's in that square. Okay. If you have a square space like this and you put in, like a 1920 by 1080 aspect ratio, it's going to look like a letterbox, and you're going to have this negative space up here and up here. Now that the exception to the rule is, if I'm promoting a music video, I'm not going to promote that. If it's the music video, I'm not going to mess with that. I'm going to put it out like that, and people are just going to have to turn their phone sideways to watch it in widescreen. Okay. But for your image ads on the feeds, you want the aspect ratio to be square. In the stories, you want the aspect ratio to be 16 by 9, right? You want it to be portrait. Okay. And so you're going to want to create those accordingly. All right. So I just want to, I want to put that out there because, make sure those aspect ratios are right. You want that to pop and have the most amount of real estate so that the creative that you put together has the best chance of seeing that in there. So now it's time to add the media. Okay. So here I can add an image or add video. So we're going to add an image on this because it's an image ad. So from here, I can pull up, and I can mess with stuff on the back end here. I can pull up an image, right? Like this, or I can, so these are images that are already in my, they're already in my account feed, or I can upload an image, right? So I can go and do something like this. All right. And pull that up in there. So you got your choices, and then these are account images. I can also go pull something that's already been uploaded to Instagram, or something that's been uploaded to my page. So the account images, that means ad account images. So these are images that I pulled up into the ad account that I've used before. I can use them again if I want to. They're saved in Facebook. Or if I have an image that I want to pull from my Facebook page, I can go and do that. That's going to pull up content that's just recently been coming out. You can see on my Facebook page, right? Or I can go to Instagram images and it's going to go to my Instagram account and it's going to allow me to pull images from there. Okay. Or I can just go back to the account images and work that. So let's click on one of these. Then we're going to go next. So now, do you see what it's trying to do here? It's trying to say, hey, how are these going to work? You know, in how do you want this to work? Do you want to crop this or do you want to replace this? Because this is going to be a different ad for stories and reels. Now, normally I would have something set up for this for stories. In this case, I'm going to go grab one here so that you can see what the dealio is. Oh my gosh, where are these? Bear with me 1 second. Let's see. So if we do something like this, is that my? No, hold on. There we go. So now I can crop it if I want to, if that works, like right within there. Or you know what? I can do something different. I can go and so for the right columns and the search results and the instant articles, that's those ads that appear on the right hand side. Go check out the aspect ratios there. I mean, it's 1.91. If you just Google, you know, what is the image size, it'll tell you. And so if you work in like doing graphics in Canva or in PicMonkey, like I know PicMonkey, I use both of them. They have like smart resize. So I can go and take something and just quickly move it around. It doesn't screw with the aspect ratios. I can change it from a portrait to a square to whatever. So that's where we're going to crop. And then I'm going to do something different here. Let's just go through the next thing. I'm going to show you what we can do. Allow enhancements. So I'll typically click on this for image ads. It'll just, if there's some stuff it'll do to make it pop a little more in the ads. Again, this is the algorithm kind of working on your behalf. Let it do that. And we're going to click done. Okay, so now the ads are going to pop up here. Now I can go back and edit these. So here is the stories and reels, right, on the app site. So I want to change this because, so, and by the way, I'm going to cancel out of this. Hold on a second. So right here, I can, on the drop-down menus, I can see where it's going to go. Facebook stories, Instagram stories, Messenger stories. It's going to go to all these places. I can do these one at a time. I can edit the image one at a time, or because they're all the same aspect ratio, I can edit the whole group by clicking this guy at the top of the group. So I'm just going to go here. Now I can go change this ad, which I'm going to do. I can use an image that I have. So let's, goodness gracious, let's go. I'm going to upload something here. So here's a portrait Elton Live. Let's just do this. So I'm going to add that in there. So now it's going to change. Now that I uploaded this, it's going to change for all of those placements. Very, very easy peasy, lemon squeezy. Okay. And then I'm going to click save. Okay, so I'm good there. And then for these, I can go and change these if I want to individually. I can go in and crop them if I want to, right? I can do different things. I can move this around. I can make it smaller, bigger. as big as it'll allow. And I can add text in there if I want to, but typically I'm not going to do that here. So let's just click save. All right. And then now we're into the primary text. So this is where the copy of your ad is going to happen. And so this is, this is huge, right? Like what's the first thing they're going to read when they see that ad? So here is, this is how to survive or how to honor the digital platform. So, if you're frustrated. Now, again, I want you to read policies, the Facebook policies that I posted in the group about what you can and can't do with the copy, because it'll get your ad rejected. Okay. But you can't do something like, if you're frustrated, unless it's an acronym, you just gotta you got to make it look normal. And the trick for ads too, guys, is the less it looks like an ad, the better off you are. You know what I mean? Like nobody likes commercials on there. So when you do stuff that makes it look like, just think about some of the content that you've engaged with, that you've clicked on, and what that looks like. Okay. I remember for one artist that was country music, but he was like pop country. I think it was Nick Hickman, maybe. It's kind of like Sam Hunt in that group. So I would put out like primary text and headlines. I would be like, is this really country music? And it would look like a post that got shared, even though it would say sponsored at the top. It just didn't look like an ad. And people responded to that. And there's a lot of people that are like, hell yeah, Sam Hunt's country music. And there's a lot of people that are like, hell no, this is crap. It's not Waylon Jennings. So this ain't country. And all I want is a listed response, and to make that happen. So you got to be creative with your ad copy here. But, if you're frustrated trying to be heard on social media and Spotify, then you're going to love this course, something like that, whatever. I could put that. Now I might put in a link for the course. So if I go here and I grab this link, or no, I got it right here. I set it up here. So copy this, go back to my ads and drop that in there. Okay. Now I can create a text, right? The primary text of the body. I can add options. So now I can go and you can add up to 5 different options. So say it a little bit differently. Have your opening line be a little different. And I highly recommend this so that you can, and then what Facebook, the algorithm will automatically pick the one that they're responding to the most. It's going to push them all out there. And then when people start responding to when Facebook will pick the winner for you, and that's the one that'll regularly go. So I recommend really doing multiples as often as you can. And you're going to do the same with, and you can do up to 5 of those, and you can do the same with the headline. Indie artists. Make a living doing what you were born to do. Now I might make another option that just says without the indie artist part. I'm just going to say make a living doing what you were born to do, right? So maybe I put that in there. Maybe a third option I'm going to put in is, are you a good artist struggling to find your audience? Maybe put a question in there. right? So this is where the copy stuff happens. Now, at this point, guys, if you look over here, well, let's finish this. Before we go check it out, let's finish this up. Put a description in, don't put a description in. That's up to you. I don't, I rarely do. The copy on the primary text here on the ad and the headline is going to do everything we need it to do. Now we need to say, okay, where's the destination for this traffic ad? Do we want it to go to a website, or do you can make it go to a Facebook event? Like if you're going to do a live show or something like that. So in this case, we're going to do a website. So let's have it. Let's put the website in here. Whoops, HTTPS Daredevil Production. Whoops, what was that? Production.com. Okay. And then once it's in there, it's you know what, you can't, I forgot about that. Sorry guys. You can't do the landing page. You can't optimize for the landing page unless you have the pixel in there. So, and there is a pixel in there. I don't know why it's saying that, but so let's go to link clicks instead. Up at the ad set level, let's go back down to the ad level. And so now we've got our website. We're going to now we can preview it, right? So I can click on it and make sure that that it's working. Let's see. What if we do this? DaredevilMusicProduction.com. There we go. Okay, so I just want to make sure that link works. Guys, test all the time. Test all the time. I can say display the link or not display the link. It's up to you. It's just what's going to appear over here. All right. And then call to action. This is huge. Let me tell you what you don't want. This right here. It defaults to learn more. Learn more sucks. Okay. And the call to action needs to match the spirit of the ad. Okay. So if you are trying to send somebody to a sales page, Nyla, for your example, right? You got a sales page for your guitar course and you want them to buy and you click donate now, Facebook's going to reject your ad because that's not being honest, right? Even if it's an honest mistake, it's still a dishonest ad. And so you want to be very careful on what you do. But, for you, you're going to have order now or get access, get offer, whatever the, subscribe. Maybe some of you are going to, you guys are going to start to try to monetize your Facebook video platform. You're going to want people to subscribe. So you can click subscribe now. There you go. Or send WhatsApp message. All that's, so you want to pick the right one and be smart about it. Don't be afraid to ask for the money. If you're selling something, right? If it's a video ad, then what am I going to do? I'm going to put in watch more. So they click through and go to my, and they're going to go to your video platform on your Facebook page and watch the video. Okay. Let's see, get access, request time, listen now, get quote, get offer, download. So just pick the right call to action and don't ever pick learn more. Nobody wants to learn more. Okay. That's just a lame one. So in this case, let's say we're going to click through and say, get offer, right? And here's the tracking. So this is if the pixel's in there or not. In the beginning, I just wouldn't worry about the pixel right now because everything's a little dicey and it's a little too, I want you to know how to set them up, but everything needs to settle down a little bit between Facebook and Apple before you start messing with that. And now we've built the ad here. Okay. So now if we want to check it out, we can go here and click, like advanced preview. And that's going to pull up the different, like, here's the ad that's for the feeds. That's what that looks like. Here's the ad that's in the Instagram feed. Here's the ad that's in the marketplace. Here are the ads that are in Instagram Explorer on the right column, on the video feed. Stories and reels are down here. You can just make sure that the ad on every surface, that ad looks good. Okay. And that you like it. And over here on the right-hand side, remember we did a bunch of different headlines, right? So over here, this is what the ads look like with this headline. Now let's change it to this headline. Okay, now it's going to audition the ads and show me what it looks like with a different headline to see which one I feel, make sure I like the way it looks. Okay. And let's see here. So now if I want to add, now let's say I want to do a different image ad, right? So I've gone through, I've set all this up. I have everything, right? You know, the placements, everything I want. I can go and just, if you click on this action menu right here. So these action menu, these 3 dots are super important, guys. Okay. Let me get some answers here to the questions. A few times in videos it said sponsored, other times it was just a banner. Okay. Tracy, can we head off the problem with the credit cards by calling the bank in advance? Yeah, you can, Tracy. I think so. I don't know how good it's going to do, you know, until they actually see something on their screen that went wrong. But I mean, it's just a quick call one way or the other. So you might as well. I know you're trying to get ahead of it, but I feel like they might be like, oh, sure. Well, what can they do if there's nothing there? If there's nothing to fix, I'd probably do it after it was declined, I think. Pamela Mary, the different primary text and headlines, is that like Facebook split testing for you? Yes. Facebook will pick the ones that are working the best for you, which is why I want you to put as many different variations in there as you can. Okay. And so once again, like the stuff that's in the primary text and is in the headline, try to make it not sound like an ad. Like, check out my new song on Spotify. Screw you. Who the hell are you? You know, check out my thing. You know, like if I've got an artist that's doing a cover song, which is content that I really dig, right, to do. By the way, not reinventing the wheel. You know, first 5 Beatles records, 50% covers. First 5 Beatles records, 50% covers on every album. First 2 Stones records, all covers except for 3 songs. First Led Zeppelin record, it was like half covers. This is nothing new. We know of Miranda Lambert and Morgan Wallen and Kelly Clarkson and Carrie Underwood. These are artists that came into our awareness because they were on a TV show doing what? Singing cover songs. I don't think of Miranda Lambert, Kelly Clarkson, Carrie Underwood, Morgan Wallen, the Beatles, the Stones, or Led Zeppelin is a cover band. Do you? So get off your horse on that. Okay. This is like the most amazing way to kill 2 birds with 1 stone. Give in a 1-to-1 digital exchange, give them something for them, which is their favorite song, and also flex your muscle on your interpretation of that song. And they're going to flip. But if I'm doing a cover song or a cover video, I might put in that headline like, oh my God, this is crazy good, you know, or just to get people to listen to it, right? I don't want it to sound like an ad. I don't want it to sound salesy. I just want it to sound hip, man, like somebody shared it. Okay. So if I want to do that here in these action menus, this is important for a couple reasons. Number one, I can duplicate this. All right. I can delete it. And this is important right here. This ID, this is your ad ID. This is your campaign ID right here. Okay. So if you have issues with Facebook and you want to get, and you have to go, hey, I know this ad is on policy. It's being rejected. Something happened with the AI. And you're going to have a lot of this, guys. You're going to have a lot of it. Okay. It just, that crap happens and it's just part of the gig, man. You know what I mean? But it's not, at least you don't need anybody else's permission. But sometimes they're going to ask you for the ID of the campaign or the ID of your ad. And this is where you're going to find that. When you back out of this, and you all just stay right there, just look at my screen for a second. But if I go to business settings, this is where you're going to find, if they ask you for your business manager ID when you're getting something reviewed, the business manager ID is going to be this is the ad ID, because I clicked on ad account. So this is the Daredevil Production ad ID. It's right there. A lot of times they're going to ask for the ad account ID, the business manager account. If I go down to business info, I pull that up. Here's my business manager ID right here. Okay. So these are IDs that Facebook might need if you have to review stuff. Very easy to find them. Business info is business ID. Ad accounts is the ad ID. And if I'm going into the ads manager and they're asking about a specific ad, sometimes, guys, I'll run like 5 ads that are exactly the same ad with like different variations in the front. 4 of them get approved, 1 of them doesn't. And so I have to give them the ad ID. I'm like, hey, just go check this out and fix it, you know? Now back into our ads here. Just want you to be able to see that. But if I go and I duplicate this ad right here, all right, boom. It's going to keep it in the original campaign. I just want to add another image ad that looks exactly like this, except I'm going to change the image. I'm going to click duplicate. Okay. It's going to duplicate for me. And it's going to call it a copy, right? So I'm going to want to go in and change this to, let's say, image ad, and put some kind of description on, like maybe this is a live shot image ad or something. And so then I'm going to go in and I'm going to change the, go down here and change the creative, right? And put a different picture in here. Click on here. I'm going to go to change, upload images. And I'm going to well, let's put something like this in here. So there you go. That's how I can change that, right? And then once that uploads, I'm going to be able to click save in the lower right-hand corner. All right. And then we'll be good. And then now, if I want to do a video views campaign, instead of an image campaign, if I want to test the two, what I need to do is duplicate the campaign, because the campaign objective is going to change. I have to go to the campaign level to do a different video views one, or to do a reach, right? Like if you want to reach everybody, that's a warm audience. So if I go and do that, I'm going to duplicate number of copies 1. So it's going to duplicate this. You're going to see this is the copy. So now I'm going to change the campaign name from Facebook Ads Tester to video views. All right. And I'm going to change that down here to video views. This is telling me that some of the settings are going to change. That's okay. Click yes. Okay. Now these are 2 image ads. So I'm going to delete these, right? I'm going to delete one of them because I don't need, I'm only going to do a video here. So we change it to video views. Now we're going to go down here. This is a cold audience. The interest and everything is going to stay the same. See how the start date stays the same. Wow, look at that. $1 billion I'm going to spend on my ad limits. Nice. My audience is the same. Okay. Placements are the same. Now I'm going to go down and change this ad though to, I'm going to select the Facebook page that I want it to be on, which is Daredevil Production. And then that's my Instagram account. Make sure that's right. So this is going to be video ad at the top. And now I'm going to add the video. So this is where I'll put this, and here's an ad I did with me and my good friend, Miss Lindsay Kirkendall. Okay, now, guys, if you're doing video views on stuff, I would optimize your video ads for the surfaces, right? So if it's the music video itself that you're promoting, then in its entirety, which you can do on a Facebook feed and Facebook video views, but you can't do on Instagram. Your video length content on an Instagram feed organically is 1 minute. With an ad, it's 2 minutes. So it's up to you to determine like which 2 minutes you want them to see, or maybe you only want them to see 20 or 30 seconds of the hook and you want them to click through to your video platform to watch the entire music video. Does that make sense? And so I'll do, different things for, depending on what we're promoting, I'll do different things within, like to make portrait ads, right? So on the portrait ad, I can just send out like a 2 minute, for stories, right? So I can send out like I can go up to 2 minutes in stories too. I'll send out the widescreen ad and then the widescreen video, 2 minutes of the music video, and they'll have to turn it to watch it. Okay. Or I can do something kind of clever, like I did here. Let me just show you this real quick. Go to artists, go to old accounts. So here's like a little thing I did with a metal band that we worked with. That was like really cool. Goodness gracious, where'd it go? Oh crap, is that at the bottom here? Oh man, hold on one second, guys, bear with me. I just want you to see how I sort of split this up within the here we are, WA Daredevil. Okay, so check this out. So this is just a video that we did that was designed for stories, right? So check it out. I mean, just look at you see how in a stories, you have like basically 3 widescreen spots within a portrait that you can kind of jump back and forth with. So here, we're not promoting a show. We're just kind of promoting people to go to click through to Spotify. I think it was, or maybe it was a video. I can't remember. But you see how I'm going back and forth and making it interesting, like within that, aspect ratio, right? And just makes it like super cool. So, get creative with that. Okay. So I'm going to click done now because I got her video up there. And now you can see we've got the video, the music video here, here, and here. It's going to tell me like, hey, the in-stream videos are only 15 seconds. So this ad isn't going to work there. I could create specific ads just for the in-stream videos. And then same thing, guys, put in the primary text, add the website URL. And then what you're going to do is you're going to click publish. And then it's going to go through to Facebook, and it's going to start saying that it's going to process it, and then it's going to say that it's in review, and then Facebook's going to review it, and it's either going to start running or it's going to be rejected. If it's rejected, let me just show you something here. Close. I'll show you a rejected ad. so you can get a vibe on what that looks like. So this like every one of these ads gets rejected initially because they got the word financial. And remember me telling you about that. So here, if I look on the ads level, these are all the ads that are running. Holy cow, load up already. Sheesh. See how many ads are run for these guys, y'all? Insane. I'm trying to find one that got rejected. Here we go. So delivery error. So if you do something wrong in your ad, you're going to get the delivery error messages right here. Just looking for one that just straight up says, F you, it's rejected. You suck. You're a horrible person. Here we go. There's a rejected one. So if I click on this, just so you can see what it looks like, it's gonna tell you up here. You know, it's gonna tell you what you got to do. Sometimes this is not very descriptive, but a lot of times it'll have a let's see, hold on here. It'll have every time for when it gets rejected, it'll have a review button there, and you can click review, and so AI will catch it. That's the, you know, the algorithm is what catches it initially. And then when you click review, it goes to like a manual review. And usually it takes about from anywhere from a couple hours to 24 hours to make that happen, and you can get it done. Okay. Now we have, just because I want you guys to work on this, because we do so much business with Facebook, I've got concierge level service with Facebook. So I can just about 24/7 get anybody on the phone or on a chat with Facebook to get something taken care of. And if you guys are interested in that, or if you need to do that, you can kind of come to me one by one or whatever, but I'll put together like a little service package or something that you can purchase so that we can connect. And then if you run into some problems, I can help you with that. Okay. Who's got some questions right now on anything that you've seen right now? Everybody feel confident that they're close to being able to press publish and put an ad together with a decent audience and go out and test it and make it happen. Anybody got any questions on this? If you do, now's the time. So I want to show you guys the sort of breakdown. I put the link up in, I think I put it up in the Facebook group. Let me just double check. Yeah, so I put the link up to this course in the Facebook group. I want to show this to you real quick here, guys, because this is having the tool is one thing, and knowing what to do with it is another thing. Okay, so this course, you guys can help me, I can help you. Basically, this is the first time I've done one of these challenges. I'm super grateful for you guys for hanging out, and I hope that that you've got everything, you know, put together. If anybody needs help on this, you can consult with me. Just email me or hit me up and ask for a consultation. I do charge, $150 an hour for consultations, but sometimes that's just going to be worth it to figure out where the bodies were buried, where you screwed up, and then get you going. Okay. With this course, what I'm going to put, we're going to start rolling out the modules here about every 4 weeks. I'm going to make that a little shorter, but I'd rather under promise and over deliver than vice versa. So I'm going to say every month, every 4 weeks, we're going to put out a new module. Okay. There's going to be a full Facebook ads course in there. So it's going to be much more detailed, a little bit more time spent on everything, all the different features. and strategies and on how to use these ads. Okay. I paid $3,000 for that information. The broadcast deprogramming, just getting you out of thinking like about advertising on a broadcast platform. You're naturally going to default to that because that's how you were raised. That's how you were marketed to. Okay. And that free download that I put in there with the gift from Johnny is kind of like what's going to be, that's sort of the outline of how deep we're going to go into how that works. Like getting you to understand the way radio worked and why it worked, what's broken, so that you clearly can make the difference between what will work and why it worked on radio and if it'll work or won't work on digital. And the answer is usually no, right? So that deprogramming thing, I think maybe is the most important module of this whole thing, because if you're not asking the right questions, you're not going to get the right answers, guys. You're going to continue to bang your head against the wall and run into problems. And if you're not manufacturing the repetition of getting that hook out there and getting that song into people's minds and getting your brand out there, and you're not doing it consistently and you're not repeating it, you're screwing up, right? And it's not honoring that digital platform. What you're trying to do is like work it like a broadcast thing. Get the word single out of your mind. There's no such thing as a single. Singles are on radio. You have releases on digital, and I recommend things like that you're going to learn in there is like, don't do a release, put together a package of releases, like at least 3. Right now, I'm to the point where I really don't even take on artist clients unless if they want to come to me like a single, they want to push. I'm like, I really, unless there's something specific or unique to it, I'm usually going to say no. Let's do a package of 3 so we can move that needle. And I want to show you what consistency does on the digital platform, or I'm not your guy. We're going to waste each other's time, because I can kill it. I can crush your video and everybody's going to love it. And then if you take another 6 months to figure out what you're going to do next, or 2 months or 3 months, you've already blown the momentum that your money created and your fee to me created. And it's not the right thing to do. The tour promotion module in there is going to talk about a lot of different ways that you can create content and use your Facebook ads platform to promote live shows along with tours, and not just tours, but any kind of live show and different things that you can do to get new eyeballs to come and check you out. So a lot of that is some Facebook strategy stuff in there, but in digital marketing strategy stuff in terms of the ads platform, but it's also content creation. Like what kind of stuff can you do that are going to pique people's interest and bring them in, right? Because what you're going to promote is just as important as the fact that you now have a working knowledge of the tool that you're going to use to promote it. The video promotion module, like different things that I do to take, let's say, a series of 3 releases and promote the videos on those releases, and how we're going to cut up the content. How are we going to drive traffic? What's the best way for this, this budget versus a smaller budget? Like what, so that you spend the most money you possibly can on the ad buy and getting to the most amount of people for the dollar that you're spending. Okay. Then the traffic creation module. This is maybe the second most important thing. People are so into promoting their music, it is that they lose sight of what really is important is traffic. When at some point the relationship that Spotify has with indie artists, with you guys as a movement and the major labels, it's unsustainable. It will fail. I have not been wrong on this in this podcast for 6 years. Every prediction that I said happened, not because I'm some kind of genius with a crystal ball, because I just watch what's happening in other industries and I see how the disruption of the internet has affected them. And what's really effed up is that the internet, the music industry right now is just having to come to terms with the disruption of the internet. Okay. That's the problem. Like they don't know what to do with it. And artists don't know what to do with it. It's a new thing. This is going to get your head straight, but it's all about traffic. So when Spotify goes away, Spotify spent $2.5 billion in the last 2 years on what? Podcast. You heard about the Joe Rogan podcast at 100 million? Why? Because they see the writing on the wall. they can't do what Netflix did and position themselves to always be this thing. Eventually, the labels are going to pull their titles and get 100% of the revenue from the traffic that they're creating. All right. And eventually, indie artists are too. And that's going to formulate and manifest itself in other sort of indie streaming services, or more importantly, blockchain, where there is no middleman. So all of a sudden, you're going to go from getting like 0.0007 cents per stream to making all the money that the traffic from that the revenue from the revenue that traffic creates. And the writers will split it up, and the artists will get it all. It's immediate. There's no middleman. There's no waiting. I don't expect you to really understand this on blockchain. It's a whole nother story. But here's the thing: the artists who don't have traffic aren't going to survive that. Okay, they're not going to survive that, and you're going to be relegated to some other streaming service that's going to pay you like crap. Okay, so it's about owning your traffic. It's your brand name. J-Lo left her record label last year. She was still the number one, not the number one, but one of the top 10 entertainment earners last year. Jennifer Lopez, not the top 10 female entertainer earner, or the Latino female. It's not a subgroup, man. But the top 10 people in Hollywood that make the most money as an entertainer, she's one of them. She didn't get dropped from her record label. She left. Why? She didn't need them. She owns the traffic, and I just need somebody to handle some admin and handle some crap that I can't do for myself. But this deal we have, unsustainable. So traffic is the key. And, I charge $3,000 a month for my marketing service plus 15% of the ad buy. That is on the low end of a standard rate for a digital marketing service. The bigger corporate digital marketing services, $5,000 a month plus 15% of the ad buy. So if you're going to do a $2,000 ad buy for 3 months in a row and pay for me to do it for you for 3 months in a row, you're going to pay me $9,900 and then plus the $2,000 for the ads. Okay. I mean, all that stacked up together, it's like $14,500, guys. I'm going to put all this knowledge into this program, into this module. And this is the course that is going to tie all of the tools that you have together. The stuff you learned from John Ajaka, the stuff you learned from Rick Barker, the stuff you learned from Manifest, the stuff you learned from Leah McHenry, like all that stuff is going to make a lot more sense because you're going to be looking at it through the right lens of how to make this work for you on a digital platform. What works and what doesn't work. You're going to have the right North Star. Okay. I'm going to charge $799 for this course. And I will tell you that, for you guys, for the next 24 hours, I'm going to let you have for like $399, but in return for that deal, I want to get feedback from each of you on the modules. How do I make it better? How do I make it more clear? Right? Because I have the curse of knowledge too. I want to make sure that when I'm saying something, it makes absolute sense to you if you didn't know it before. And the other thing I want straight up is your testimony. I want you to say, I went through this course and this changed my game completely. And I'm having more success now for a lot less money because I know what I'm doing and I'm getting my brand out there. Okay. So what I've done on this, guys, is I've allowed you can hit me all up at once for $399, or you can click this button right here and you can split it into 3 payments if you're a little pressed. But this is going to go up to $799 when I roll this out. But because you all did my first challenge and everything, I'm giving you that stack right there. I'm giving you that bonus right there. All right. So this and it'll be rolling out like module at a time. So it's not going to be overwhelming for you guys. And that link is in I'm going to send it out in the email, and it's in the Facebook group. And if you want any questions, you can, if you have any questions about it, you can ask me, and I'll be happy to connect with you on that. Okay. Man, did everybody, how do you feel about this challenge right now, guys? How do you feel about this challenge? Do you know more than you did before? Was it worth it? Was it worth the 1.5 hours to 2 hours you spent with me a day to, change your future? Let's see here. We got lots of stuff going on. Our websites like N1M, who say you have all these followers and 43,000 streams or views, BS. What's N1M? I don't know what that is. Yes, most of them are going to be, listen, guys, you need to take control and own your own traffic. Okay. So the places, again, there are places out there that are like sort of implying or just straight up trying to sell you, like, we have traffic and you can be seen, right? They're like on digital radio stations online. I know of a couple dudes, one guy down in Florida, another guy over in Europe, are just super effing creeps, and they only have like 16-year-old girls and younger, and they promise them to all this stuff, and they're creepy. You know what I mean? I've had to block some of them from my younger artists, and I've worked with a bunch of young female artists, and it's disgusting. But you know, some people are trying to sort of take advantage of the muddy water. Like, hey, this is digital radio, but we're going to call it radio because that's what you want to hear, and that sounds good. And you can get in front of a bunch of people. You know what I mean? But you know what you don't have on any of those services? The data. Who heard it? Who liked it? How do you even know it happened? Right here with this Facebook ads, and you know, with the information you can get from this course, you're in charge of everything. So if it doesn't work, you're going to know, you're going to figure out why, because you're smart, and then you're going to fix it and you're going to move forward. When it does work, you're going to see who liked it. You're going to be able to retarget them, and you're going to take complete ownership of of your business. Okay. And you know, when I talked about, the digital, you know, the transformation of the music industry, like the music industry right now still doesn't know who the customer is. Right? If you purchase a CD, a record, a cassette tape, an 8-track from Warner Brothers, from Warner Music, or from Sony, or from Universal, they have no freaking idea who you are. You're a demographic to them. Okay. A lot of the vision that I see in the music industry, I just got straight up, guys, by watching Hollywood. Hollywood did the same thing. They're two very, very similar industries with very different products. Hollywood and the music industry both make artistic intellectual property. It's a different sale, right? Everybody knows what a box is, what it does, what it means to them right at that point. 999 people, if you ask them if they need a box, they're gonna be like, no, thanks, it's garbage and a pain in the ass for them, except for the guy that's moving. He's gonna be like, how much is that box? I know exactly what it is, exactly what it does, and exactly what it means to me. Art has no fundamental, deep-rooted value in society until enough people like it, and then it's valuable. Right? So it's very subjective, and there has to be enough of a crowd around it to like it. You know, the first 300,000 Nirvana records on Nevermind were bought by people who really freaking like Nirvana. And the other 9.7 million were bought by people who want to identify with those people that like Nirvana. That's the way that works. So it is watching what happened with the fact that Hollywood is pushing artistic intellectual property, and they've expertly done it on broadcast platforms. Broadcast is one-to-many, television, one-to-many, movies, one-to-many, plays, one-to-many, right? And they know how to make that work. But who does up until very recently, just a year ago or 2 years ago, Hollywood doesn't know what movie you went and saw. They just got your money, but they don't know that it's Tracy Lipp and that he likes this and he doesn't like this. They don't know that it's Carrie Cunningham and she likes these and she doesn't like those. They have no idea who their customer is, and they're selling through distribution, meaning that they're not getting 100% of the revenue that their artistic intellectual property creates. So, you know, here comes Netflix, and they start creating a $1 billion industry, a $1 billion business, on rented property. It's not, it was none of their intellectual property in the beginning, right? All of a sudden, when they finally got Friends, and everybody was going to Netflix for Friends and The Office and for blockbuster movie titles, Netflix didn't have anything that was their own. And so at some point when the titles get pulled, Netflix's $1 billion business is over unless they figure out a way to replace that revenue, which is why they started creating original content. Okay. But what happened was, you see NBC pull their titles and have a streaming service, and Disney, ABC, and CBS, Paramount, and HBO Max. And not only are they getting 100% of the revenue that their traffic is creating online from their artistic intellectual property, they also knew who the customer is. That's where the music industry is going to go. Spotify can't do what Netflix did. Okay. It's important that you understand that. And this is because the product is different, right? It still costs millions of dollars to make a TV show or a movie. There's 60,000 uploads a day on Spotify. Spotify cannot create enough intellectual property to replace what they're going to lose when the labels pull their heads out of their ass and start pulling titles and saying, hey, we should get all this money, right? And we should also know who the customer is. So that's why Spotify's shifting over to podcasting. Okay, they see that writing on the wall. And because the labels really don't know what the hell's going on right now, and they might see the shift too, going to blockchain, even though I tell you right now, they still don't understand blockchain any more than you do. Okay, that interview we had with the blockchain experts on my podcast on The Climb with Will Lewis and Rick Wells and Edwin McCain, the artist, they have a business together around blockchain. Will Lewis does a bunch of big label deals. Like he works with labels all the time. He's like, smart contracts, they think that's a legal thing. The lawyer's like, yeah, we better get boned up on that so we know how to do these smart contracts. And he's like, you guys are idiots. Like the smart contract is code. It's a code in blockchain that just says if $1 comes in, 50% goes to Tracy Lipp because he co-wrote the song, and the other 50% goes to Carrie Cunningham because she wrote the other half of the song. And it happens immediately. It goes into your wallet, and it's done. There's no PRO. There's no Spotify. So all that is, it's all based on traffic, guys. Okay. But that's where it's already happening. It already happened in Hollywood. It's where it's going to happen one way or the other in the music industry. It's too big. It's just too big. Let's see. I mean, I just, what you want is the traffic. When you own the traffic, you own the data, and you're controlling everything. And you know what? You don't have to worry about what's going to be BS or what's going to be a scam or anything like that. All you have to worry about is getting better at the ads and the content. And isn't that really what you want to do? Promote your content and be an artist. The rest of this stuff it's janky, man. It really is. And the more you build up your audience, the more you're going to get into real stuff like brand collabs with bigger artists that have that kind of content. Okay, Carrie Cunningham, is it okay to do the video ad to promote the link to YouTube and then duplicate to have subscribers to the Facebook page with the name change? I'm not sure what that means, but I wouldn't link to the video ad to YouTube, Carrie, because you're sending the traffic off platform. You can do that and you're going to see the numbers move, but it's if you're hard up about YouTube, then do it from the Google platform, because you're going to get, for the same ad dollar, you're going to get much more traffic there. On Facebook, you can now monetize your Facebook video ads platform like you can on YouTube. So I would send, if you're going to do a Facebook ad, I would send people to the video on Facebook. Oh, one final thing I forgot to mention. If you're going to do video stuff, you noticed how I was able to upload the video content from the ads platform. You on a music video for an ad, do that. It's okay. For the music video itself, if that's what you're promoting, you want to upload that to your video platform first, and then you want to go and grab it from the ads, like in the page videos. You want to grab it from the platform there, because otherwise it's not going to show the traffic on the video the video file that's on the video platform isn't going to show the traffic that your ad created. You'll get the exposure, but it's not going to show, and the comments aren't going to show, and that stuff. Okay. So understand that. So I would keep it on the platform, Carrie, because you're just going to, especially for you guys starting out, because I want you to have the most amount of reach and reach the most amount of people for the ad dollars that you spend until you get kind of used to this. And when you do it right and you create the kind of traffic and the kind of excitement that people have about your art, they're going to go search for it just out of default, a knee-jerk reaction. They're going to search for it on wherever it is they like to listen to music. So that's how, remember, I didn't send any traffic to YouTube for Lala Deaton, but she's got over 120,000 video views on YouTube because they just went to find it there after they were exposed to it on Facebook. Make sense? And I don't know what you mean about duplicate to have subscribers to the Facebook page. I wouldn't run ads to do subscribers to the Facebook page or for engagement ads to get likes or anything like that, because what the algorithm does in that, guys, the Facebook algorithm is going to find people who just like everything. The like doesn't have any weight to it. You want to like with weight, put out 3 videos in a row, 3 months in a row, and do it well and run some ads. Your likes are going to increase, and those people saw your content and went and sought you out and pressed like and follow. That's what you want. That's the kind of like and follow that you want. The other ones are going to be superficial. So I never do it. I shouldn't say I never do it. I've had to do it because I have artists and management companies who don't understand the freaking difference, or they want to play they're still playing the old music industry game of, well, we want to look better for the industry and for a label. And these are like super pro. They're not delusional about the fact that they got the goods to be a major label artist, and they're ready to do that because they know what they're doing. But man, it doesn't, if you got 10,000 likes and you only got 50 people engaging, you look like an idiot. Okay. If you got 50 likes and 50 people engaged, you look awesome, right? Do they want more numbers than that? Yes, but it doesn't matter if it's fake or if it's superficial. What they want is real engagement, and they want real followers and a real audience. They don't want it to look good. Okay. So that's a wrong way to approach that. I'm canceling my CRS ticket for next month. No longer want to go. Carrie, we talked about this at dinner or at your house the other night when you had that get together. Yeah, man. I mean, honestly, it's except for networking with maybe producers or other artists, maybe, you know, there's a benefit there because there's a lot of people there, but to rub elbows with people in radio, it's worthless now. Why would you do it? You know? So I'm glad to hear you say that. Tracy Lipp, my friend Jeanette Olson, part of J-Lo's voice, 60% Jeanette, 40% J-Lo. Oh yeah. I know. She does like what Paula Abdul did, right? She ghosts. I think Martha Wash would sing the record, like that first Paula Abdul record. Martha Wash sang it. Then Paula Abdul she couldn't really sing it herself, but she could follow really good and then be in pitch. And so Paula Abdul sang over that. And that's how that happened. That's so hysterical. This is great, especially price. Thank you, Jay. Well worth it. Thank you, Tracy Lipp. Love it. Carrie Cunningham, Joy Flanagan. Awesome. So worth it. Looking forward to going deeper. Love it, John. Do songwriters get paid if someone watches an ad that is a full video? Well, that's a good question, Tracy. I don't know. Probably not. I would imagine no, because it's kind of like, remember when Scott Borchetta got in a lot of trouble because he was, if you have a certain amount of time of music on a radio, on the radio, like if it's if you hear a song on terrestrial radio for a certain amount of time, it counts as a spin. I think that certain amount of time is 30 seconds, might be like 40 seconds or something. The amount of time doesn't matter. Scott Borchetta went and paid for a bunch of freaking ads and put like one of his artists, it might've been Taylor Swift at the time, put one of his artists like music in the ad. And he was buying the ads and then running up the spins and charting and doing all this bullshit. And he got in a lot of trouble for that. So probably not. Just think of it as exposure, man. And by the way, the payment isn't going to really defer or offset the cost of the ads. You know, what you want to do is bring good product, compelling artists into somebody's awareness and do it often, right? Marketing, you need 2 things. You need, frequency, right? And you need reach. You need to be able to reach millions of people, and you need to be able to do it a lot. Okay. That's just marketing 101, whether it's commercials, music, or whatever. So focus on that as a marketer. And guys, your world's going to change with this, man. Your world is definitely going to change. Anybody else got any other questions before we sign off? All right, good, guys. Well, I hope you take advantage of the deal on the course. And thank you so much for for being a part of this journey with me. It's the first time I've done it. I learned a lot. If you have comments on this challenge specifically, suggestions, stuff I can do to make it better, by all means, please, 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 let me know. And, you know, for the next one that I put together, I will make that change. But this is, we're going to go wide with this program here. And you guys are my sort of first, my first go round. So, you know, you're all friends, and I really appreciate that very much, guys. Have a great new year, guys. I want you guys to blow up in 2022 and start to have just in the first quarter, man, run a couple ads, see what happens with those videos, and then tell me, like, holy crap, John, I just got 100,000 views on my music video. I love this. And now I'm not, you know, crossing my fingers and hope that something happens organically. I don't have a business model to promote my music that's based on hope. I'm actually in the driver's seat and feeling like I'm in control. That's what I want for you guys. That's what I want for you guys. Okay. So, love y'all, guys. Have a happy new year. And you know, raise your right hand. Promise me, man, to keep me in the loop on what happens with this stuff. If you have issues, you know, just hit me up for consultation, guys. Okay. I'm happy to do, I do charge for them. It's, you know, it's my time. It's gonna be an hour of my time, but we can work out a lot of that stuff and kind of get you off the guardrail and back onto the road. And it's a small price to pay to really, you know, get that momentum going and get that momentum kicking. All right. Love you guys. Thank you so much. Have a great new year. I'll talk to you soon.